KDB. That beat is fire.
Beats Planet.
Make sure my volume turned up good enough where they could hear me. You know, volume. I want to make sure my volume, you know what I mean, where they could hear me. You know what I'm saying? Before we get into it, you know, I just want and this technically is all 32 topic. It's Tuesday, it's draft day. It's technically all 32 topic. Do I drop a heavy F or just like, you know what I mean? Should I just keep
drop what you feel, man? Whatever you feel in your heart.
Pardon my language, Chad. CJ Stroud ain't coming to no fucking Dallas. And I'll keep the rest of the show PG-13 because that is something I've been wanting to, you know what I mean? That is something I've been wanting to, you know what I'm talking about? But dog, listen, man, I don't come on here and tell y'all to stay focused for nothing. I don't come on here telling y'all to stay focused for play. I don't come on here telling y'all to stay focused for fun. Right? But we live in this world where clicks matter, right? We live in this world where clicks matter. And before Voch and Will Steele and Law Nation, Corrier Foots, you know what I mean? People will just click on anything. They'll just click the shit because it looks interesting. I'm a content creator, YouTuber. I stand on real shit. Why? Real shit get views too. Come on, Will Steele. Real shit get views too. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you a master class on how this shit happened, right? First of all, ambiguous title with a breaking news on it. Breaking news: Cowboys are intrigued by but what's his name? CJ Stroud. They're intrigued by CJ Stroud. He's intriguing to me too, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? He's intriguing to me too, right? But you want to skew it, but keep it ambiguous enough because you don't want to say shit like, oh, Dallas is thinking about trading up to get CJ Stroud. You don't want to say that because that'll be wrong. That'll be incorrect, right? You want to keep it ambiguous. You want to keep it, you want to keep it wide open. Will say, oh, like breaking news, Dallas Cowboys think Jalen Carter's good. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Captain Obvious.
You know? So by saying that and putting it behind breaking and putting it in bold letters, it's a weird little mind trick. It's a little Jedi mind trick. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. You know, it's you know what I'm saying? It's a Jedi mind trick for the reader to look at it and go, oh, Cowboys and CJ Stroud in the same sentence. We just happen to be a fan base, not all of us, but you know them. We just happen to be a fan base. We just happen to be a team that gets talked about in big media because of our quarterback play. Let's get some views putting one of the best quarterback prospects in the draft together with the Dallas Cowboys who get big clicks anyway. And next thing you know, you get big clicks. You get big clicks. But here's the reason why you got to keep it ambiguous. Chat, stay focused. This is why I be y'all think I be telling y'all stay focused because the shit sounds cool. You think I be telling y'all to stay focused because it's a marketing thing from YouTubers. You just need this fancy little slogan. No, I be trying to warn you because I love you. Somebody gonna knock on Bull door, and look, I don't want to say his name because this is part of the problem. Somebody gonna knock on Bull door and go, and they gonna go, well, MF, motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Fella MF, you know what I'm saying? Sir, so you think Dallas Cowboys think about trading up to go get CJ Stroud? And you know what he gonna say? Oh, I didn't say that. I ain't say that. But you put this information out. You dropped this article. You went on your YouTube channel. You dropped multiple pieces of content talking about Dallas Cowboys trading up for a CJ Stroud. And all he gonna do is go,
it's false. No way. Not this time. We created it.
I say the Dallas Cowboys are intrigued by CJ Stroud, just like they intrigued by Jalen Carter, just like they intrigued by Tyree Wilson, just like they intrigued by Quentin Johnson. But that don't mean these people really gonna get there. These people, Cowboys, there's a difference. So they're gonna watch film on everybody. They're going to watch film on everybody, right? You'll hear Mike McCarthy say, hey, Mike McCarthy, what you think about this cat being a free agent? And Mike McCarthy say something like, oh, I remember scouting him when I was in Green Bay. I mean, we ain't drafted him, but I remember scouting him. Dan Quinn said this. Oh, I remember. Oh, man, I remember. What player was that, Will said? Oh, I remember going down to his college and watching film on that guy. And boy, son, just via trade market, he just ends up here. They talk about this all the time. So these guys are watching all these players. CJ Stroud is intriguing. The top 16 of the draft, they're all intriguing. But if the article don't say, well, the Cowboys are going to aggressively trade picks to move up to go make a move to go get CJ Stroud because they don't like Dak Prescott. Okay, cool. That's a headline you can apply some accountability to. So when we don't see no movement, we get to look at you and wave our little finger a little bit. But y'all believe all the mind tricks. You believe the nonsense. You believe all the little spells that they can. That motherfucker. You believe that. Stay focused, bro. Stay focused. One person saying it. One person. Boy, when Zeke went to Cabo, 22 people reported on it. 22. Boy, when you hear about the idea of the Cowboys may possibly trade up to hear about, Drake London, the Cowboys may trade up to get Trevor Penning. Boy, you saw 6, 7, 10 people in 3 podcasts talk about it. You mean to tell me, Master William, you mean to tell me That shit slipped through your fingers. It slipped through mine. It slipped through the flagship radio station. It slipped through the website. It slipped through all the reputable reporters. It slipped through Jory. It slipped through Jane. This mother that's barely holding on to the last little piece of his life, the last little piece of his career, that's just holding on. He's one article away from getting out this month. Y'all believe him, and nobody else said nothing. I'd be damned. I'd be damned.
I'm pretty sure it's exactly like you said, though. Hey, what do you guys think about that quarterback from Iowa State? Oh, yeah, he's very intriguing. He's very, very intriguing. Breaking news: Cowboys believe, and it's not a big deal. He's not lying, right? But it's like, why are we even reporting on this? But that's why I said this morning. To me, it ain't even about the clickbaity stuff. That's what he does. But we know there's other things about how he moves that is the real issue.
Yeah, he already a shiesty motherfucker. But listen, let me tell you something, man. And I will say this publicly, right? I will say this indeed publicly. I would love for y'all to ask Law Nation about my track record of trusting people. I simply don't. I just simply don't. Law is my OG. And by the way, I'm taking my glass off so I can say this. We need to find a way to celebrate Law Nation because he about to hit 100,000 subs. So, like, I don't know what the community need to do, but that's huge for Cowboy YouTube in general. So we need to find a way to figure that out. But look, man, me and Law Nation have plenty of conversation, man. And Law tell me all the time, yo, Voch, man, you need to be a little more diplomatic, man. You need to just love on people a little bit more.
Bipartisan is the word he loves to use.
And Voch say, man, F all that, bro. I'm not finna be friend. But Voch, you don't want to let an opportunity slip through your fingers. Oh, because I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Just be a little more, man. Them people, dog. Like that's how I feel. Everybody grown at the end of the day, and everybody can do what they want to do. But Buddy is a shiesty character, and boy, I'm not patting me on the back for seeing through that shit early as hell, but. Boy, he looks shiesty. He looks shiesty, and everybody got a bad story. You should hear all the unprovoked FUs that we just get about that. I mean, Will was there, me, Will, and two unnamed people. You know what I'm saying? We was at a little situation, boy. Like, hey, man, we just talking about, hey, man, boy, I tell you what, boy, this breed of dog that Will still got, man. I'm thinking about getting me a German Shepherd trainer to bring my rifle, and I don't know what dude just said. First name, last name, you know what I'm saying? Like that character, you know what I'm talking about? So, hey, it is what it is, man. Chat, I just want y'all to stay focused, man, because now that story has hit big media, right? And when you go on the different posts, the different tweets, Nick Wright from Fox Sports talking about it, and that's all over social media. When y'all see that, man, I just want y'all to give it a stank face, man. Just
stop the cap.
I just want you to give it a stank face, man. Don't believe everything that you see, bro. Like it's entertainment. It's entertainment. And you got somebody on their last leg trying to stay in this business. And it's interesting that they're coming through our medium to try to do that. You know what I'm saying? Just be careful, bro. Just be careful who y'all give your clicks and attention to. That's all I wanted to say for y'all today. I'm your host, Voch Lombardi.
AKA Ferrari.
VOCHLOMBARD. I'm the being point guard about the best in the business.
All the way from Bel Air, California. Please welcome Will the Thrill.
Will the Thrill. What's good with you, my guy?
Man, people that don't follow Cowboys content, they're probably in here like, what the hell is going on?
It's okay, Alex. It's okay, Coach Evans. It's some people on the volume side. I was like, hey, man, I just wanted to hear y'all talk about Anthony Richardson, bro. Like, I didn't ask for all this. Who is this? You know what I mean? But y'all go here today. Let me just give respect to Will still, man, because, you know, just no matter what happens, if Will in some nonsense, I'm going to jump in it. You know what I mean? I always got Will back through all types of, you know what I mean, smoking situations here. So I just love that, you know, I just walked into this thing. Now, Will, I know you don't talk a lot about other people, and I really don't expect you to jump into none of this fight, man, but I'm about to say something. Will say, hey, I said it on my show. Let's run it, Voch.
Let's run it.
Let's run this shit.
Because the community, man, they spoke up. They spoke up on Twitter, and I thought it was cool. I thought everybody came together because, look, this, I don't know what y'all want to call it. Everybody's calling it new media Voch. Whatever you want to call it, we here. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I've come to grips.
The conference has been unlocked.
Y'all call in, by the way. I've come to grips with the idea that I am media now, Will, and I used to wrestle with that idea. I used to wrestle with, man, I'm not media, I'm not them people, man, because we do things differently. You know, we talk we almost get fired a lot. You know what I mean? We do. So I don't consider myself media, but I signed to the volume. We definitely media now. You know what I mean? When I saw the backlash to one of those topics and how big that got, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, we are definitely media now. So I gotta, we can't get super canceled, but we just got to be wary of how we do here. Now, let's have a moment of transparency here. I know y'all looking at the title, and I know you're looking at let me get the title pulled up so I could be 100% precise. You're reading the title and it says 2023 NFL draft prospects plus will Anthony Richardson be drafted in the top 10? I just want to be transparent with you. I'm not talking about none of the top prospects. I'm not talking about Anthony Richardson. I'm not talking about the top 10. I'm not. I have a team that puts together the live stream. They put together the thumbnail. They put together the title. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Maybe we just had a little mistake today. I love those guys because they do fantastic work. Shouts out to Paul. Shouts out to Christian. But I guess we just had a little miscommunication today. But I'm not talking about the title and the thumbnail. What I wanted to talk about today was Voch's top players or Voch's favorite player. I didn't say top player, Voch's favorite players, right? And I just kind of want to, talk about what that means and then talk about some of my favorite guys. I know a lot of people come to the platform. They know that I'm Draft Guy and I'm constantly watching film over on patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. We'll be watching film today. Andrew Voorhees is a guy. Isaiah Foskey is a guy that we're going to watch today. We're also going to watch Collegiate Cansey. So if y'all want to watch that film with me today, go to patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. People constantly coming to me on social media and they're always going, well, Voch, who are your favorite players so far? What do you think of these guys, right? And I just wanted to make an episode, and there will be many more shows like this where I just kind of talk about some of my favorite guys from different, positions and position groups and just kind of talk about why I like them. Now, does this mean that my favorite guys are the best guys? No, it's kind of like a pet cat situation, right? I just can't come out and say, oh, Jalen Carter is my favorite guy. He's everybody's favorite guy. He's the best player in the draft. You know what I mean? So this is more of a sort of pet cat episode. Not really for sure because, I'm going to talk about players that a lot of people like, but I just want to talk about some of these guys. Also, does this mean that if they're not on my favorite players list, do I think they're trash? No, Tyree Wilson, edge from Texas Tech, is not on my favorite players list. I think he's good. I think he can be good. He may not be my cup of tea to be a favorite player, but I think he'll be a good player. Miles Murphy, who's a player that's getting drafted right around, Tyree, I don't think he's good at all. So he's clearly not going to come on, he's not going to be on my favorite players list. I think Tyree is I think Miles Murphy is like a late first round, early day 2 guy, but he's being, drafted in the top 15 or so, right? So just kind of wanted to precursor some of this. I just kind of wanted to talk about some of my favorite guys, and y'all can take that information and you can attack me accordingly. All right. So if y'all want to call into the show, the number is 202-926-1127, access code 309-104, and y'all can tell me some of y'all favorite plays, or if I'm on some bullshit. Now, Will, you don't have to chime in on none of this for real, because normally I would go to you, but I know you kind of watch film at your own pace. But if you want to stop me at all, just give me one of the signals that you want to stop me. You know the signals when you go like you'll pick up a pen and you'll go. You hear this? Or you'll just get one of them. You know what I mean? I know what you do when you want to say something. All right. I got you. So let's get into it. And like I said, today is a all 32 show. So if you're a Ravens fan like Coach Evans, you are a Eagles fan like Alex or whatever, right? You can basically apply this to whatever. So all right, cool. But this will be some Cowboy because I'm a Cowboy guy. But y'all can figure it out. So today I got running back. I got wide receiver. I got 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs. I got some offensive tackles, 1 interior offensive lineman. Skoronski ain't on the list at all. I'll explain if you want me to. I do want to talk about the curious case of Peter Skoronski.
Yeah, because it's like every other draft analyst has him as a top 10, 15 player.
Today we'll talk about it. We're definitely gonna talk about it. Also, too, Will, I got a reason why that happens. I'll tell you about it in a minute. 1 interior D lineman. I haven't watched a whole bunch of interior D linemen. We're gonna be doing some of that today. 2 edges, all right, and 1 linebacker. No, I have not watched DBs yet. I'll be doing that at the end of this week, right? So y'all keeping up with my journey or whatnot. But a couple of players, couple interior guys, running backs later on. We'll do DBs. All right, let's talk about this. Let's get started. Running backs. Bijan Robinson. Will Steele, you wasn't around last week. Last Thursday. I was watching Bijan Robinson film, bro. I had a white shirt on. I was minding my business, right? It was a white True Classic tee. Promo code Voch for 25% off, right? I went live on Patreon and I watched Bijan Robinson. That motherfucker made me take off my white shirt and put an orange one on. And I went live, Will.
I saw you with that orange joint on.
I don't even wear bright colors.
Texas. Did you throw up the?
Nah, because that looked gang related.
How y'all do it?
That looked gang related. I was nervous. And I didn't want to do it, but dog, Bijan Robinson so good. Oh, Will Steele, Bijan Robinson so good. I don't know why people even mock Bijan to 26.
I don't either.
Ain't gonna be that. There's a new joke that I got going around. This player would have to be a Keyshawn Boutte party or Boutte party, and they still won't make it to 26. Jalen Carter's one of them. Dog, Bijan's so talented, bro. Bijan is we always talk about, well, what's the top tier runner, right? Since Saquon, there's been like Josh Jacobs, guys like Najee Harris, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall or whatever, right? So we just kind of waiting on like that next big dude at running back. Oh my God. Oh, Will Steele, Bijan so good as a runner, as a power runner, as an agile runner, as a patient back. You see him slow down and set his blocks up, right? He'll be in a hole, he'll be in an alley with a linebacker. He's using his vision to set the linebacker up just to cut and get him blocked by somebody. It's brilliant how he used this offensive lineman, right? He's gonna be a dude. Normally we talk about these running backs that, oh well, if he has a good offensive lineman, he'll be great. If he has a good 5 in front of him, he'll be great. Bijan will probably be a dude that goes to a team with a bad offensive line. He'll be just fine. He'll be just fine, Will Steele. That dude is so elusive. That dude is so good, so patient setting up his blocks. Bro, he'll be good with whoever's in front of him. I say that loosely because, a bad offensive line is whatever. But, dog, he's so good. Passing game. Yes, as a receiver, top tier stuff, right? But even as a blocker, willingness to block, bringing power to blocking the right guy. Let me tell you a very underrated trait about running backs blocking, right? Say I'm the quarterback. You know what I hate? And I actually learned this in high school when I played center. I hate when a running back steps up the block, but they still directly in front of the quarterback, right? Because you're going to be blocking somebody with a running start as a running back. It may be a linebacker. It may be a D lineman sometimes. And you're going to get pushed back 2 yards, maybe 3 yards. So if you're on the quarterback lap, you're right on top of the quarterback. And that quarterback may not have confidence to step up or step into a throw because you're into their lap, right? Bijan step up there with the guards, Will. Boy, he IDs who he has to block. And he step up there and he makes a perfect line with his guys, with his linemen, bro. And I'm just looking at Bijan, bro, and he can run routes, and he can line up his slide, and he can line up his Z. And I'm just like, I don't know how this dude make it a 20. I don't know how much coke you need to get that dude to 26 overall. And I don't even want to talk about it no more because all it's gonna do is set me up for failure.
Yeah.
What I talked about, Will Steele, on your show, and we'll probably talk about this tomorrow. This is 30 seconds of Cowboys talk, right? I was like, man, I really hope that we take care of business in free agency so that we can go into draft with a clean slate, right? Because I don't want to have to worry about a position. And this could be for anybody watching right now. If you're a Ravens fan, you would hope that you get a receiver to go along with Bateman so you're not handcuffed at, receiver or something like that. You know what I mean? So that can really apply to everybody. Shouts out to Coach. So I was like, man, I don't want to not do enough in free agency to where if Bijan is there, one of two things happen. I either go, damn, I need wide receiver. I can't get Bijan. Or you get Bijan, but now you get wiped out at wide receiver because you didn't go wide receiver early. You see what I'm saying? You just want to fill every single need. I love what Will says. You want to leave every stone unturned when you build your roster so that you get to so that when you get to the draft, you'll be good to go. I think Bijan's a guy that if he's at, he ain't gonna make it to 26, Will still. But if he's a guy that's on the board, bro, it's gonna be hard for you to talk your guys out of him. If you're a team in the middle of the draft, right? Like if you Washington You know, if you a team like I'll pull up Tankathon real fast, right? But if you a team in the middle of the draft, right? How do you talk yourself out of one of the best players in the draft just because he's a running back? Bijan is a top 5, 6, 7 guy in the draft. If you Green Bay got Aaron Jones that they was just talking about contract renegotiation or whatever. I don't, he's not a Jets guy because they got Bresee or whatever. Bresee come out the ACL, whatever. Ramondre's not keeping you from drafting a Bijan Robinson, like a Philip Gainwell, not Gainwell, Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell is not stopping you from drafting Bijan Robinson, bro. Leonard Fournette and Rachaad White are not stopping you. So as a Cowboy fan, bro, I don't know how it happens. I would love y'all to stop mocking him there so I can feel bad about it, right? But Will Steele, how about this, sir? Let me turn this shit down. I kept watching film. I just kept watching film on running back, right? Because I was just curious. And I was like, oh, so Bijan's going to be the one guy that we talk about that could be a first round. Okay, that's cool. I said, oh, Bijan's going to be like the only running back that's worth talking about at 26. Ed My Dallas got 26.
Yeah.
I take Gibbs at 26.
I was about to say that.
Go on, Will Steele. I take Gibbs.
No, I want to say Gibbs is right behind him.
Oh, Gibbs so good. Gibbs so good. And look, this is another all 32 conversation, right? I ain't saying Gibbs and Bijan are like that close because I think Bijan's incredible. I think Bijan's like a top 5 guy in this draft. I think Gibbs is more like a dude in the 20s, but that's still cool. Well, I'm watching Gibbs, bro. And this is for anybody too. This ain't Cowboys right now, right? Gibbs is not a dude that's going to make it to the end of the second round for you. He's not. So now we can talk about draft philosophy. Now we got to talk about overdrafting players. Do you bank on a dude falling? Do you manipulate your board? Because let's say you're a team at the back of the draft, right? Will Steele. Say you're boy, I'd be pissed off if it was like Kansas City or something, right? But like just say it's the Bills or something, right? The Bills. If you're the Bills at 28, Cook should be the guy, but Cook really didn't, they ain't really give Cook the opportunity, right?
Cook ain't stopping you from drafting none of them dudes.
At all. So let's say you the Bills and you go, all right, we the Bills at 28. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't want to take him at 28 because it's my first round pick, right? My mythical first round pick. So I don't want to take him there. He's a running back. This is my mythical first round pick. I'll wait till the end of the second round. Real life is he's not going to be there at the end of the second round. And the only shot you got at getting him is trading back or taking him at 28.
And I don't think a team would think like that. Like, I'm going to just wait till he falls to 60.
He's not that dude ain't going to make it to 60. And there are many good backs in this draft, Will Steele. But Jahmyr Gibbs, just like Bijan, is a mother. I said last show, Will Steele, good players, you can win all the regular season games in the world with good players. But when you get to the postseason, you need mother. Bijan and Gibbs are mother. And if you really feel like those two dudes are mother, you can't get so caught up in your first round pick and those dudes being running backs that you just totally rule them out. You can't. Because they'll get to your team and they'll be game changers for you. Go ahead.
I get the running back first round thing, but we're talking about in the 20s. I mean, you're talking about second round picks now. Sure. To be completely honest, right? Like your guys after about 21, and some even will say after 16, 17, whatever. Talking about guys that are second round grade dudes. So if I'm at, you said Buffalo, at 28, Bijan Robinson is still on the board. I mean, yeah, I'm taking him.
Yep. And honestly, if you don't take those dudes, right? If you don't take either of those running backs at late first, whoever you do take at late first is gonna have a worse grade on them, right? So if you're not in the top 15, like taking a running back top 15, that could be treacherous for you. We talked about running back a lot, but I move on. That could be treacherous for you. But dog, don't fret, man. Take the dudes, man. Take the dudes. So I said that to say, just putting my own personal opinion out in the streets. I think Bijan and Gibbs, regardless of being running backs, whatever, Bijan's kind of obvious, but I just want to say Jahmyr Gibbs is a 26 guy for me. Depending on the board, like if a better dude that I think is better is on the board, then cool. But if Gibbs is the best player on my board at 26, or let's just say for any team that's in the late 20s or whatever, I like that dude enough that I would take him. But let's move on though. Let's move on. Let's talk about offensive line here. We ain't gonna be at offensive line too long because y'all don't think offensive line is very sexy, but it is what it is. Mind you, tonight, Voch and Foots the King are gonna be having a discussion about offensive linemen. So please tune in. It's funny because whenever Foots is working with Sky or with Joe or with Space, y'all always work when the sun out. Y'all got all the time in the world, but every time I want to work with Foots, it gotta be like 9:30. You know what I mean? I got to be like 1 hour before I go to bed when I work with Foots. So it'll be 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern time. Me and Foots gonna go to work tonight. I want to talk about 3 offensive linemen, 2 tackles, and 1 interior dude. And while I'm doing this, I want to talk about the curious case of Peter Skoronski, Will Steele. You offensive line guy, Will Steele. Let me ask you a question. Put yourself on the screen.
I'm not offensive line guy, but go ahead.
Oh, you O-line guy now. You O-line guy today. Generally, what are some of the traits that you associate with guards when you watching guards, right? What are some traits that you associate with good guards? And this ain't got to be a super technical question, but just what do you consider?
Strength.
Come on, man.
Not strength. Strength.
Come on, man.
You spell that STRENF, whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
that's number 1. Right, and then obviously I'm looking at hands because if you get beat inside fast, it's a wrap for the quarterback. But strength, that's what I need, man. I'm not gonna go too technical like you said, but give me some strength, give me some good hand movement, and I can work with the rest.
Right. The curious case of Peter Skoronski. Let me tell you why. Peter Skoronski is being projected as a top 15 guy. I've seen him around 11, whatever. Let's just say 11 for the sake of argument. People are labeling him. Some people are labeling him as a tackle. Now, position value, if he's going to be a tackle and he's that level of tackle for you, then cool. He'll be up there for you and I won't have a fight for you. But then there's the other people that look at Skoronski as a guard. And it's interesting because even when they look at him as a guard, they still keep him in that top 15 range. Now, guard at top 15 is interesting because when I watch your film, I'm going to have to think of you like a Zach Martin type character. And that's extreme. Zach one of the best guards in the league. Quentin Nelson one of the best guards in the league. But a Kenyon Green at least, right? I need that level of confidence in your guard play to look at you as a top 15 guard and be like, yo, that dude at guard, that's the top 15 dude right there. Let me tell you about some of the problems that we have with Peter Skoronski. If he's a tackle, right? He has a arm length deficiency. He got short arms in case y'all ain't know what that means, right? So if he has short arms, he's going to naturally have a disadvantage in some matchups. I would love to see what he looked like versus a guy like Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech, who has the longest arms on earth, right? That'll really expose some of Peter's deficiencies, right? Now, does that mean that all offensive tackles, all short arm offensive tackles are bad against long arm dudes? No. Guys like Rashawn Slater, his highlight tape was against Chase Young. He put on a clinic on what to do with long arm guys. I'm going to attack the elbow. I'm going to get hands on you first. I can play the leverage game. I can hand fight with you. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Joe Thomas was another guy that's really good at this. So if you don't have the technical nuance as a short arm guy to deal with a long arm guy, then you're naturally going to have some problems with long arm guys. So the league says this. Oh, well, not even the league, but just some media scouts and some guys in the league, they go, oh, Peter Skoronski got short arms. We'll just throw you at guard. Voch says this as offensive line guy, and I love y'all to pieces because a lot of y'all respect me as offensive line guy. I bow to you, appreciate you. Voch says this, just because you have short arms, it don't make you a guard. Or just because you may be a bad tackle, that doesn't make you a guard. In my opinion, what makes you a guard is stout, base. You need to be able to have a wide base and be strong, right? Your anchor need to be a little bit different. Why is that important? Because you more in front of the quarterback than a tackle is. So if you're a tackle, you may have an anchor to where you can stop somebody in 3 drops, right? Boom, 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 and you stop. Boom, boom, boom.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang, bang. But if you a guard, you ain't got 3 anchor drops before you stop. Because the quarterback may be 4 anchor drops behind you, right? So you need base and anchor. You need strength. You need nastiness. right? So when I look at a guard, the first test that pop up in my mind, Will, still, this is easy for everybody. You ain't got to be a scout to do this. Is can you anchor and can you dig people out of A gap? That's what I think makes a really good guard. Can you anchor against strong people, bull rush, and can you dig people out of A gap? When I watch Peter Skoronski at tackle, not only does he have a arm length efficiency, but I don't think that Peter Skoronski is powerful enough to anchor strong dudes. And look, the closer you get inside, dudes get stronger. You know, you could probably deal with an end like a standing edge guy, but if you're going to be playing guard, now you got to anchor 3 takes and 1 takes. Good luck to you. Right? I don't see Peter Skoronski as a dude that's strong enough to anchor against bigger, stronger dudes. He's not a big dude in general. He's about what, 290 something, 295 playing guard. And I don't think he's strong enough to dig people out of A gap in the run game. So in my mind, Skoronski not a guard neither. He's even less of a guard than I'd rather put him at tackle. Right? I don't think nobody's going to be putting him at, like, drafting him top 10, top 15 and putting him at center. So if you ask Voch, what's the best path to his success? Play him at center, which you ain't going to do, and draft him high. Or you got to hope or send him to Duke Manyweather School for outstanding offensive lineman and teach him nuance to deal with arm length. If he ain't done it, up to this point in his life, I don't know if he ever going to get it. Right? So with that picture painted about Peter Skoronski, now you know why he's not one of my favorites. I don't think he's a terrible player, Will Steele. I think terrible players belong in the 7th round. I don't think he's a terrible player. I just don't think he should be considered as a top 10, 11, 12, 15 guy. Right? Now, music back on. Let's take a dude like John Michael Schmitz, Minnesota.
Jacob Jingleheimer.
That motherfucker. He has no problem with his anchor, Will Steele. He has no problem with his strength. He moves children from point A to point B. An old wise man told me that's the definition of offensive line in the run game. You move somebody's son from point A to point B beyond their free will. That's John Michael Schmitz. Steve Avila, TCU. He does it. Anchor, point A to point B. Those are guards to me. So when I see, what's his name? Peter Skoronski, ask yourself, does he have a better anchor than John Michael Schmitz? And does he move people from point A to point B better than John Michael Schmitz? The answer would be no. The answer would be no. Now, you can look out into the national media world. You can look at Mel Kiper and them all you want, or whoever mock draft you're looking at all you want to, and you can ask yourself, oh, well, they have Peter Skoronski as a top 15. It could be a reputation thing. It could just be we in too deep at this point, Will Steele. But just ask yourself, does Peter Skoronski, does he do guard things better than John Michael Smith? The answer probably be no. So let's talk about this. Tackle things, right? Some of my favorite tackles. I like DeJuan Jones from Tennessee. Why? Because he's a nuance guy. Y'all want to know something funny? Y'all want to know how many dudes DeJuan Jones went up against on the film that I watched that had long arms? 6 dudes. We talking about a dude that's played against Georgia, dude that played against Alabama, dude that played against some of the best talent, Will Steele. Played at Tennessee. Darnell Wright played at Tennessee. Well, shit, DeJuan too, both of them. They both have played against long arm dudes. You know what they both do? DeJuan Jones from Ohio State and Darnell Wright from Tennessee. They both neutralize long arm dudes, but they both do it in different ways. You want to know how DeJuan Jones from Ohio State neutralizes long arm dudes? His long arms.
Longest arms, I think, in the history of Senior Bowl.
He does it well, Will Steele. Plus, he's powerful, right? So that's how DeJuan Jones deals with long arm guys. Darnell Wright, how does he deal with them? With nuance, with technique, with hands. If your long arms, your hands, if they get inside of Darnell Wright, you best believe he's gonna do one of two things. He's either gonna club down, he's gonna wrist control up, he's gonna try to bend you at your elbow to make you shorter. He has a tool belt full of how to deal with long arm dudes. He got a full bottle of it. So now, if in the curious case of Peter Skoronski, you ask yourself, does Peter Skoronski deal with long arm dudes better than DeJuan Jones and Darnell Wright? I've seen DeJuan Jones move children from point A to point B. Let me cut my music off so I can be clear about this. Will Steele, when Ohio State played Georgia, and every now and then Jalen Carter would just end up on DeJuan Jones. You know who ain't die? DeJuan Jones. Paris Johnson died a little bit. Paris Johnson got his ass smoked when he was dealing with Jalen Carter. DeJuan Jones did not. So I know DeJuan Jones can deal with power. I've seen Darnell Wright deal with power also. I've seen Darnell Wright deal with Will Anderson. I know he could deal with it. I've seen both these guys deal with it. Chad, have y'all seen Peter Skoronski deal with power the way that those two dudes deal with power? Why is this important? Why am I on this soapbox about dealing with power? Because a lot of y'all will like Peter Skoronski just because somebody else says I need to like Peter Skoronski. I know there's a bunch of new people on the volume here that are watching me for the first time. People on the Voch Lombardi side know how I get down, but for the people that's on the volume side that may not know me, this may sound like some nonsense because nobody else is saying it, but I've been right a lot more than I've been wrong. I just don't know how Peter's gonna deal with power, and I don't know how Peter's gonna deal with long dudes. But I just named 6 dudes that can deal with power at guard and can deal with long dudes at tackle.
Let's play devil's advocate with Skoronski.
Let's do it.
If he is to move into guard, can him being an exceptional technician counter some of that? I mean, we've seen some guards who look. I love power. I need you to have some power in there, but can he beat you, out angling you, and just being a technician depending on scheme? If he was
a technician, yeah. I just don't think of him as a technician because he wasn't a technician at tackle. You know, I mean, he had some technique there. I mean, he had solid feet, solid hands. You know, he was a solid blocker. He was a solid dude.
Well, this ain't sounding like a top 30 type of guy to me. Just if I'm listening to you, like this ain't sounding like a guy that I'm taking in the first round and a half.
And that's my point, Will Steele, right? I ain't saying that he boo-boo garbage. There's a special place in the draft for boo-boo garbage dudes. I ain't saying he that. I'm just that top 30 is just very particular to me. He may be a solid player, but that top 30 is interesting. And plus, I'm a Cowboy fan, so I come from Connor Williams' cloth, right? I come from this world of I seen this dude that played tackle that they put at guard.
Yeah.
Just because he has short arms. But I can find me a guard that's better at being a guard because they've been a guard their whole life. They've been a guard their whole life, so they know how to be guards.
Yeah, not everybody's Zach. You know, Zach Martin can move inside and be one of the greatest guards of all time.
What does Zach have? Strength?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, he has everything. Okay, cool. Tyler Smith, right? Tyler Smith, he has some questionable tackle length or tackle traits or whatever coming out or whatever. That's cool. And look, he improved all those tackle traits. But one reason we're so excited about him being guard is anchor and strength.
Yeah.
So now you got to ask yourself, how many times do we see a dude that's built like that? How about this? For the Eagle fans in the audience. I love this. Let's do this, Will Steele. For the Eagle fans in the audience, where Alex at? I would love for the Eagles fans to tell me how y'all feel about a guy like Andre Dillard, right? Andre was a Senior Bowl guy, and he got a whole bunch of hype, and he gained a lot of money in the Senior Bowl process. But his film is what his film was. His film is what his film was. He was in that same cloth as those Connor Williams type guys, right? Like, hey, man, you one of these athletic tackles, but I don't really see a bunch of power in you, right? You know what I'm saying? But all of a sudden, we're going to try you at guard just to kind of see how that goes. There are some Eagle fans that loathe the idea of how high Andre Dillard got drafted. But you take a guy like Landon Dickerson, who played guard, who plays center and guard at Alabama, right? Who definitely has anchor, who definitely has strength. They'll take a dude who in Landon that was drafted after a guy that was drafted in Dillard. Now they looking to get rid of Dillard. They can't stand every Eagles fan I've heard talk about Andre Dillard. They can't stand Andre Dillard. Long story short, don't just take a dude that's a tackle. You don't think he'll be a good tackle and hope he'll be a good guard just because he's a bad tackle. Just draft a guard that's more built to be a guard. That's all I want to say to y'all, man. That's all I want to say to y'all. Because there's a lot of people that got that PTSD about little guards, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be that dude. I don't want to be the guy that gets Skoronski and he gets to my team and he's 298, 295, and day one he got to deal with Oso Digizua, or day one he got to deal with whoever the Eagles got at 3 tech that week, or whoever the Chargers got at 3 tech that week. You know what I'm saying?
There probably needs to be a plan for that team that drafts him that doesn't include having to pigeonhole him into guard right away. Like you said, we got the whole Connor Williams thing. Connor had to go to guard because who was he playing? He wasn't taking Lyell's spot at right, and he wasn't taking Tyron's spot at left, and they used second-round draft capital and moved his little 290-something pound ass at guard, and he was getting moved around. And that sounds like that could be the case with Skoronski. So I do think you got to have a plan, and if guard's the plan year one, it ain't like Tyler. Like Tyler had the power and the mauler ability to be like, listen, we can slide you in right now at guard and then push you back out at left tackle when we're ready. And I know we're using a whole lot of Cowboy analogies. I'm pretty sure there's other ones across the league, but that's what I got for you.
Alex gave me every answer but what I was looking for. I asked, hey man, how much you hate Andre Dillon? He started talking about how good Mayata was. I ain't asked you all that. I asked if you hate Andre Dillon. But whatever, let's move on, man. That's my talk about offensive line today. Just for a recap, John Michael Schmitz, Minnesota, fantastic. Steve Avila, TCU, guard, cool. DeJuan Jones, right tackle for Ohio State. Love them. Ohio State had a lot of guys. We actually about to watch one of their guards today, or their center, I believe. They got a bunch of dudes over there. And Darnell Wright, tackle from Tennessee. We watched, who's also a right tackle. All of my favorite tackles ain't left side players at all, Will Steele. So you kind of see the problem I'm having. But it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, here we go. Alex says, I still think Dillon can be a solid starter. If you're drafting somebody at top 12, you hoping for more than just solid starter player. But you know, it is what it is. Let's see. Who my next guy? Because I like to write things down. I have written down 2020 Brian Bresee. I think that's going to be another interesting conversation we're going to be having over the next couple of weeks.
Man, injuries, man.
Indy's going to be super important for him. Indy's going to be super important for him. One, because, the medicals, we have to make sure that the medicals are good on him. Don't in the combine, and you ain't got to know this, Will, but don't in the combine, they got people that do mental evaluations also. Like there's going to be a lot of like interviews and coaches talk or whatever, but then there's going to be doctors that do medical stuff. I don't know if they got this in Indy, but it wouldn't surprise me if it wouldn't. But I would imagine that there's going to be like some mental coaches there to like talk to the players also, just kind of get a feel for who they are and what they're going through. Brian Bresee went through a lot, and I'll let y'all do your Googles on your own. But Brian Bresee in 2022 is nothing like Brian Bresee in 2020. Brian Bresee in 2020 is a dude that I'm like, hey man, I can see him being not a Jalen Carter close guy, because Jalen Carter is incredible. But if Jalen Carter goes first overall, I can see Brian Bresee as a guy to go 15. I can see Brian Bresee as a guy that, you know what I'm saying, that goes right around that. A dude that could play 5 tech, 4-eye, 3 tech, nose, 1 tech, does everything, athletic, explosive, strong as hell. Like Brian Bresee in 2020 was that guy. But then when you watch the film, when he has the knee brace on, ACL surgery later, he just doesn't look explosive. He doesn't come off the edge. He doesn't bend. He's not, you know what I mean? He's just heavier, slower. And, he may be stronger because, you go through that college offseason program or whatever, but Brian Bresee plays a lot more, 0 and 1 tech, at Clemson. So if I get 2022 Brian Bresee, I take it all back. I'm not a fan of him. I really wouldn't want him. I really wouldn't want that player on my top list or whatever, right? But if you can promise me, which is going to be interesting, because I do think Brian Bresee will fall because of his medicals and possibly a mental situation. I don't know. We'll see. But the film dropped off. If you can get Brian Bresee later on in the draft, that could be 2nd round, 3rd round, late first, whatever. But he's the 2020, version of himself. You guarantee to get a steal. You guarantee to get a steal, right? But we don't really know how that's gonna go.
My PTSD as a Cowboy fan killing me, man.
I agree.
Drafting injured players ain't.
I agree. He'll be perfect for that Cowboys 2nd round pick candidate. You know what I mean? He'll be perfect. He'll be amazing for that. But we'll see. Coach Evans says his situation with his sister had an effect, most definitely. So not only are they going to have to look at his knees, but I hope they got some therapy, some therapists on deck to get a hold of Brian Bresee, just kind of see where he's at now, or if he even wants to play football anymore. So we'll see about that. But that's my conversation about Brian Bresee. Short and sweet. Another dude in which is going to be super important of what his time in Indy looks like, what his combine looks like is Kayshon Boutte. I'm going back up to wide receivers now. 3 names: Kayshon Boutte, pardon me, Zay Flowers, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. I just want to have this conversation about these guys. Kayshon Boutte, Kayshon B definitely has enough talent to be a top 5 receiver in this class. One, because this wide receiver class ain't the greatest. Like, he could be top 3 in this class, right? Like, he's up there with the guys. He's up there with like Addison, talent wise, right? But it's a lot of fluff with watching his tape and evaluating him. It's a lot of stuff that you just kind of got to sort through, You can watch his film and be like, well, Voch, he doesn't look very involved. Well, he was having problems with with his coaching staff, and they really didn't use him as if he was the number 1 receiver there, right? Ever since his scandal, I'll allow y'all to do your Googles. I can imagine how a coaching staff, especially a coaching staff where they came from, right, can see him as a player that, you're putting yourself in front of the team. You're putting your career in jeopardy or whatever, right? Like, we can't hold you accountable for your actions or whatever, right? There are some people that looks at this and go, hey man, this ain't the Boy Scouts. He may be a player of, weird integrity or whatever, but if he could play football, let's run it. You know what I'm saying? But there are some people like Will Steele who has PTSD of the type of player that he is, and they may go, right, but I don't want a dude that's not going to be accountable for me. I don't want a dude that's not going to be there at every practice and every game and every weight room session, right? But combine is going to be important for him, because you're going to have these conversations like, bro, if you're not, are you all in? I need to figure out who you are.
You know what I think would be more important? I mean, obviously sitting down and talking to him, but the homework you do behind the scenes, right? Like talking to his professors, talking to those close to him. Training staff, right? People that might know him but don't interact with him as much, but see his work ethic. Because at the end of the day, man, I just want to know, and I know this is cliche, I say it all the time, Voch, but I truly do want to know, do you love the game? Yep. Because I feel like if you love the game, you're going to do whatever is necessary to make sure you continue to play it, right? So that's all it is for me. If he loves the game and he's going to attack it that way, the rest of the stuff I think will fall in line. He's young. He's going to do certain things. But eventually that love will take over and he'll cut out some of the nonsense. If you don't love the game, then as talented as he is, man, I can't, as a Cowboy fan at least, again, bringing up Cowboys again, I ain't taking that chance no more. I've been burned too many times.
Sure. I don't know if he's a guy that's I really don't have a good idea what his draft stock is going to look like, because he could be a top athlete. Like, think about Pickens last year, right? Like, he was a top 4 receiver on my board, top 3 receiver, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I didn't know where he was in terms of, hey, do you love football? What's these conversations about your diva mentality or whatever, right? But George Pickens ends up being one of the best rookie wide receivers in the league. Kayshon Boutte, like, he may not be a guy that's going to be the best receiver in the league and nothing like that, right? Or one of the best. But he could at least be a guy that can contribute at a very high level. And I think with this nonsense attached to him, whatever, which is, do your Googles, this nonsense that's attached to him, if you can get him in day 2, it's a steal for you. If it's so bad that it falls all the way to round 4, that's a steal for you. Right? Because talent-wise, he's a dude you would take in the first round. Talent-wise, he's a first-round type. And when I say first round, he may not be first-round, but like,
I know what you mean.
26.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he had a perfect track record, drafting him in 26 makes sense to me, right? But he may be in the 4th round because of his track record, so we're going to have to see.
The Pickens comparison is so interesting, man. And maybe Professor O and other Bulldog fans could attest to this or whatnot, but when talking about Pickens, I never came away from he doesn't love it. In fact, I'd argue maybe too much, because people were saying he had an attitude problem. He was, when I say issue at practice, I mean more of a a dog issue, more of a I'm better than you, more of a you can't stop me, more man, what you talking about? Like it was more of a I'm that dude. That's kind of what I came away from. And again, I don't got contacts down there, but I talked to Professor O about this a lot. And I just never came away from, but Pickens don't really like football. It felt like he liked it too damn much, and he was I won't call it an issue, but that's where his downfall was. But give me that player. Give me a player where I got to bottle that emotion up as opposed to a guy that I got to say, hey, dog, you want to come to this workout on Tuesday? Nah, fam, I'm going to go record this album.
I definitely think Pickens is a better player than
The
Wu-Tang.
conference has been locked.
But what I was saying in terms of like comparison or whatever, I just remember watching George Pickens. And man, it'll be some film from 2019. He may get like 3 catches that game. I'm like, man, why Pickens got 3 catches this game? But when you watch them 3 catches, it's the most ridiculous ball skills you've seen. It's the most ridiculous hand catches. It's the most ridiculous stuff. He balanced on the sideline, yak ability. And I go, boy, that's a hell of a 3 plays to put on your resume. If you only look at them, like big picture wise, you won't get it with Pickens. If you look at the numbers, you won't
watch the film essentially.
You gotta dig to really get that. You know what I'm saying? So my thing about Butte is you may see him lackadaisical on film. You as a draft evaluator, you got to say, okay, he's having a problem with his coaches. They're not featuring him. This quarterback that's throwing to him may be trash, so maybe you lean a little different on that. But if you go way back, not even way too far, but if you go back to his freshman campaign, right? You go back to this game, right? And you go, hey, but this stretch of games, I'm seeing some elite ability. I'm seeing some top tier yak ability. I'm seeing hands. I'm seeing shoulder pads over knees. I'm seeing all the top tier shit, right? You got to dig and weave into film sometime. You just can't go off, I'll just watch 2 games on this dude. So when I say Pickens, if you only watch 1 game on George Pickens and it's the wrong game, then your evaluation going to be wrong. But if you really dug in and did the homework, then you really figured out who George Pickens was. And I'm glad to be on the right side of history with that. That's what I think about Boutique.
And I think Pickens, though, I think people came around to that, right? What the talent is there, but it was mentally mature. Does he love the game? Those things? Well, I didn't come away with the love the game, but that other stuff seemed to be the question, and that's what we're still trying to dig and figure out about Butte, right? Like, do you see the talent, but is it the other stuff?
Yeah. 2 guys I'm going to talk about. One I'm going to talk about, in relative depth or whatever, but the rest of the guys we're just going to kind of move on from. It's been a minute. We've been talking. Will Steele's got daggum 415.
415, yeah.
Yeah, we've gone through this. Drew Sanders, good player, loving the pieces. Whenever you can get a linebacker that sees it, that processes it well, plus you can get 9.5 sacks from him in the season, whatever. I think that's a high value player. He's one of my favorite guys. I still got a lot more linebacker work to do, but love him. Nolan Smith, y'all already heard me come on here and get on the table for him, get on my soapbox for him. He's going to be another guy that's a late first, early second type conversation dude, but he's one of my favorite players. I just wanted to publicly let it be known that he's one of my favorite guys. Now, let me go back to receivers. It's going to be the last guy that I talk about, and then we're going to move on and get to the phones. We only got 3 people on the phones today, but that's fine because it's
fire.
It's 4:15. So, Pete, Will Steele, what do you think? So, like wide receivers, right? How about this? Let's just say with your 26 pick, wide receivers there. He's not the fastest guy. And, this is going to sound like that motivation shit, right? He's not the fastest guy. He's not the strongest. He's not the big, you know what I mean? What do you think about wide receivers who may not have the physical gifts, but their mental capabilities put them ahead of the game, right? Like, are you a guy that looks for all the physical traits, right? Or are you a guy that you'll excuse physical traits if his mentals carry his game? Just give me a general.
The latter for most positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll be okay if you're not the most physically athletic player or person in the draft or at your position if you mentally are ahead of those other dudes, because I think that stuff will eventually balance out, right? So I guess it depends what position. Are we talking boundary wide receivers? Are we talking slot guys?
Both.
Right?
Slot mostly, but both really.
Because if I'm a slot and you a dynamo, I mean the mental aspect of being the slot and a dynamic slot guy can give you some advantages too. But also if you just physically crazy quick and twitched up, you don't need to have it, right? But if you are more of a possession receiver, I feel like you got to have that mental aspect. You got to figure out how I can beat this guy without being faster than him or quicker than him. Got to be more heady. So I think there's a balance to it. So, listen, give me the athletic freak, but he can't, and I don't want to use the word dumb, but he can't just be that, right? Because now I'm not going to bring up names, but if all you can do is run straight or run a slant, you're limited. I'm just leave it at that. There's some players.
So there is the Dez Bryant side of the argument.
Hey,
right?
I didn't bring up Dez's name.
I said there's the Dez Bryant side of the argument where your physical capabilities can outdo everybody else, right? But you will get limited at some point. Yeah. Dudes like what's his name, the Jackrabbit kid or whatever, the corner, I forgot his name, but Janoris Jenkins, right? Like corners like that. Like once they figured out your 3 moves, you useless or whatever, right? But you do love the physical capability of it. I can just get Dez the ball, he just smoke shit. Or Dez can 50-50 ball anyway.
Right.
Cool. But I like both sides of it because a guy like Hunter Renfrow just opens himself. Pause. But he's like with his route running, with his smart, like him finding holes in the defense, understanding leverages or whatever. Cool.
I mean, Chris Carter, bro. Chris Carter is not the most physically gifted wide receiver in NFL history, but he's one of the greatest of all time because he was an absolute technician and had one of the best hands ever.
I've been thinking about Jackson Smith-Njigba to Dallas, right?
Oh,
that's
my fit right there.
I was watching Jackson Smith-Njigba at first, Will Steele. Sometimes you watch film fast because you're trying to really get through guys. And I had this conversation, and I got to do a lot of shit in public because if I don't, man, people just gonna forget all kind of. I remember talking to Jeff about it. I remember talking to Jeff, and I remember telling Jeff, like, man, Jackson Smith-Njigba is good, but I didn't know how to explain how he was good, and I just didn't want to trust my eyes on that. You know what I mean? Because when people come to me like, yo, Voch, why is Jackson Smith-Njigba good? I want to have a better excuse than because he good. You know what I mean? I just want to have a better excuse than that. Went back to the film deck. I drafted it. I downloaded everything that was Jackson Smith-Njigba. I went to YouTube, got the broadcast view, watched everything that was Jackson Smith-Njigba, right? Talking about a dude that's on the team with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, and he's the guy, right? Like he's one of the big, right? Let me tell you what's so dope about Jackson Smith-Njigba, right? Because he's smart, Will Steele. Because he's smart. Shaq, the Vikings fan earlier, he asked a fantastic question, by the way, because a lot of people say this, but they don't explain it. They're like, Voch, how are you smart as a wide receiver? Like, how do you gauge wide receiver smartness? And the only way I can explain it to you is I would have to give you scenarios, right? So if you are not smart receiver, right, and it's cover 2, and your job is to cross the formation. In cover 2, somebody got to be in the flats. Somebody got to be deep behind me. Everything in the middle is going to be hook and curl, right? So if you got a crossing route where you got to stop somewhere, a dumb football player would either keep running into more traffic, right? They may stop short. Quarterbacks understand things with wide receivers, right? Quiet communication, like show me your hands or show me your eyes, show me your numbers to show me that you open, right? The more you watch Jackson Smith-Njigba with that mindset, and you just watch him get open, you'll see him. Okay, so you'll know that he has a crossing route. Rewind the play. He'll bring that crossing route just a little more shallow, just not as deep, and he'll see some dude working some linebacker working his direction. Like I said, a goofy player would keep the same depth and run into that traffic. Jackson Smith will get right behind a linebacker, flash his hands, his eyes, and his numbers, and be like, hey, throw it to me now. Right? So that's how you make an always open guy. Right? Some dudes are just like, hey, I'm just going to be fast and be open guy. Jackson Smith-Njigba is this is the coverage, this is the hole, and you're not going to see my hands, my eyes, or my numbers until I know I'm open. Boom, motherfucker, I'm open. Right? And it's always at the perfect leverage. So you see guys like CJ Stroud, you see guys like Justin Fields. Well, Justin Fields mostly. You'll see Justin Fields just waiting, right? Like he'll just wait for Jackson Smith to show because he can trust that Jackson Smith-Njigba will not show his numbers, hands, or his eyes until he's open, right? So when you hear commentators be like, "Oh, this is a quarterback's best friend,"
I was just about to say that's a wide receiver quarterback best friend as opposed to tight end.
When you hear commentators talk about talk about things like that, I hate when I watch Jordan Addison throw his hands open and he ain't open. You know what I mean? I hate when and this could be Pittsburgh film, this could be US, especially USC film. I hate when Jordan Addison running to the right of the formation, the quarterback scrambling right, and Jordan Addison run the other damn way where he got to throw across his body, but he wave and say, "I'm open," right? Jackson Smith-Njigba would never do that. Jackson Smith-Njigba comes back to the football. Jackson Smith-Njigba flashes his hands only when he's open. He understands what cover 2 is. So when he sees this dude screaming to the flats, because that's what cover 2 is, somebody got to be in the flats. And this cornerback, this cornerback doing something different. So somebody from over there got to be coming to the flat. Or like if it's cover 3 and like a linebacker or a safety's coming to the flats, he goes, okay, so there's this much space between your flats and that dude's hook and curl. Let me flash my hands, my number here. That's how you gauge smart receiver. And it's a long explanation of how you gauge smart receiver, but I got to give you examples because I ain't got wide receiver nuance to tell you any other way.
I got you.
This is how I know it. Go ahead.
He reminds me of a smaller version of Larry Fitzgerald when he went and transitioned into the slot. Sure. Larry wasn't going to out physical you, but he was going to outsmart you to the spot. And he was a fantastic route runner with secure hands. And as Cowboy fans, listen, we seen this last season. You brought in a guy who was physically gifted, third rounder in Jalen Tolbert, but he wasn't mentally ready. I'll tell you something right now. Had JSN been on this team, I don't think you would have saw him being inactive. He would have been quarterback's best friend. You wouldn't have been seeing, I don't think, a whole lot of miscommunications because he's just that intelligent of a wide receiver. And even if you put it, and he's probably going to play slot, so be it. I think getting the Cowboys again. The Cowboys had guys like that in Cole Beasley, Randall Cobb, and I think things worked out very well.
And he's not a guy that's going to test the best. Like he's not going to run the fastest 40.
Larry ran a 4.6.
For sure. Right, exactly. But he's one of those dudes, and this is once he gets the ball in his hands, right? He understands how to work people's leverage against him. And I understand, I say leverage a bunch because some person that was trying to argue with us, just some goofy person trying to fight Voch. I'm like, Voch, you say leverage with every position and every situation. You just say leverage too much. Dog, leverage works in many ways,
man,
sir.
A lot of coaches preach that too. It's important. It's important in so many different ways, right? Our defense, offensive line, and as receiver and corner. Like you want to have that advantage every time.
Yep. If we talking about hat level and I'm blocking you, you use leverage. If you're running up the field and another defender is coming at the same angle that you coming, that's another example of leverage, right? If you have the football and you're running this way and somebody's running at you, that's another conversation where you have to use leverage.
Yeah, it's
you
weird.
know what I mean?
People get mad at you for saying that.
Well, we'll still fucking,
what's going on? If you played, you got to understand leverage is extremely important.
Very important. So when I talk about Jackson Smith-Njigba, in this context, talking about because he has route running leverage also, but just talking about yak leverage, right? He's a dude that he may not be the fastest, but if he sees how fast you coming at him, he'll hit you with a and you'll go past him, and that's how he'll get his yak. Not by being.
I gotta clip that up. Hit you like with a.
You know what I mean? He's not faster than you. He's not quicker than you, but he will you know what I'm saying? And you'll just go past him, and before you know it, you get back upfield. Paul. He right back upfield. You know what I mean? That's a long-winded breakdown of Jackson Smith-Njigba, but I feel like I had to say that because a couple weeks ago, I publicly came on here and said, hey, I know Jackson Smith-Njigba is good, but I just watching him, I don't understand how to tell y'all how he's good, right? But after grinding my film, and sometimes as a draft evaluator, y'all watching your film, you want to just whatever. Sometimes you got to bang your head against the film till you really, really get it. I banged my head against this Jackson Smith-Njigba film, and now I've given y'all a good reason why I can explain it, and I'll drop a film session on it later. All right, good talk, Will Steele. Thank you very much. Shake my hand, sir. Appreciate Voch definitely likes Jackson Smith and Jigba, but they are different receivers. So Shaq asked Jackson Smith and Jigba or Addison. Look, I think Addison's a good player, but y'all know Voch is a guy of nuance. I love nuance, right? So Jackson Smith and Jigba is a more nuanced receiver, and since he knows the mental side, I can see him as a dude that can survive more than just my physical skills, right? I've seen Hunter Renfrow live in this league because of nuance. I've seen it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would much rather lean on the side of I understand more than I'm athletic, because athleticism will run out. Jack Smith and Jigba gonna have a long career because he understands football. But anyway, let's get back to the
Larry. I'm telling you, Larry played 17 years, productive years, and he was never a top 10 athlete at the position.
Slower than everybody. Slower than everybody. But he just get over and back in the day he used to jump over people too. But
he could do that real well, for sure.
Yeah.
He wasn't running by you.
For sure, 100%. I saw Matt Owen earlier. He wanted to drop a plug, and I wanted to make sure that when I was done talking about it, I wanted to get back into it. Matt, if you don't mind, and I'll go to whichever chat box you're in, you can actually drop the link to your situation or whatever, and we'll clear it in the chat, and we'll let people go see it. He did a breakdown on Jackson Smith and Jigba, so we'll let you do that. Kyle in the chat says, Voch, I'm glad you came around on Jackson Smith and Jigba. I ain't say he was trash. I just ain't know how to explain to y'all that I like him. I just didn't want to lean on me looking at a dude, him being good, and just saying because he good. I'm Voch, man. Humbly, I got to come on this platform and explain shit. You know what I mean? I just can't, I can't just come on here and be like, oh, well, he's good and you should trust my word for it. He's just good. No, I got to tell you why. I just didn't know why. Voch has a better understanding why after I beat myself upside the head with the film. All right. 3 callers. We're going to get to all of them. Jack, Cool Ass Drake on deck, 214 in the hole.
Perfect.
Let's boogie. What's up, Jack? Sing. What's up, Jack?
Yo, Jack, funny.
What's good?
You?
How y'all doing, brother?
So would you
Cool, my guy. Getting his
Scott, I
work
want
in.
to apologize. That was me that didn't. I was on when I called your morning show. The 202 number that didn't get through.
All good, brother.
I handled something with my daughter.
Hey, man, take care of the fan first.
Absolutely. Now, with all due disrespect, I was at peace this weekend.
Right.
I had the finest cognac known to man, and I had the finest flowers from Mary Jane's garden. I go into a place, I had my Cowboy memorabilia on.
Yes, sir.
I just came in today just to one hit and talk shit a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
And out of nowhere, an Eagles fan that was sitting with the Commanders fan, which is an abomination, said, fuck the Cowboys. In my mind, I got slapped in the face. I could have turned the other cheek. My lady was like, come on, Jack. Ignore it. Walk away. And as I said, baby, I'm okay. In that split second, I chose violence. So I looked at him, he looked at me. I went over and I pulled up the seat next to him by the ball. I said, could you please repeat that, sir? He said, I'm tired of you Cowboy fans because all you do is have expectations of y'all going to the Super Bowl. I said, sir, I see you got your memorabilia on, so you like your team, correct? He said, yeah. I said, then bitch, you stupid if you don't want your team to go to the Super Bowl. What you like the game for?
Right.
I said, what you had to drink? He named his little drink. I said, Robinson, don't give him no more. Then he can't drive home. He's stupid. You done got drunk already. He said, this is my first one.
Right.
Well, brother, you need to pick up another bad habit because this ain't it. And so I proceeded to walk away. He laughed. I chuckled.
Quickly.
My lady laughed.
Right.
He's like, baby, I thought y'all was going to get into it.
Right.
I said, he didn't want none of that.
Right.
I got Charlie when Becky with me. Now those are two of my friends that I keep with me with extra long legs. So I wasn't worried about that.
Right.
I said all that to say this. I don't give a damn where you at or who you with. I rock us forever. Because, bitch, I got us. If ain't nobody else got it. Gentlemen, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, and beautiful evening.
Right.
And I bid you a Jack.
Appreciate it, Jack. Love you to pieces, man. Hey, man, don't be out there getting into football fights now. It ain't that important. Hey, don't be putting your life at risk.
P.O.P. all the time.
You know what I'm saying? Put your ass in the back of the car because somebody don't like your you know what I mean? So appreciate you though, Jack. Holding us down, Doc. Salute. Let's go, Cool Ass Drake. He's a Ravens fan. What's up, Cool Ass Drake?
Hey, Voch, Will, Steele.
Cool, my guy. What you got for the show?
Hey, man, I think I speak for everybody when I say I want to party with Jack.
No. Listen, Jack gonna have you fighting in the parking lot, dog.
Jack dangerous.
Like, damn, man, I just wanted to come party. Now I gotta
do all this. But it's all good. What you got?
The finest cognac known to man. That's what he says.
Hey, man.
Oh, you're gonna get turned up with Jack for sure.
What's the name of that? You know what I mean? But go ahead, though, Drake. What you got for us today?
Voch, I've been listening to your stuff lately. It's draft season. I'm very excited about it, you know.
Yeah, man, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. You know how we do.
I got to tell you, I know Bijan rules. I don't. One of the main reasons I don't think he'd be a Cowboy is because I think the Ravens would pick him if he's there.
Time out, Drake. We're gonna talk about this in a second. Give me 2 seconds. What was that King Element? What did he say? What was it? I lost him.
He said, here you go.
King Element say getting folded up for a front office that don't care about you is insane.
Well, that's funny too. But I'm talking about what he said when he off that drink, they call him Yak.
I ain't see that. Shouts out to King Element, man. He's smoking it today. King Element top tier. So Cool Ass Drake. I agree, sir. I don't think that J.K. Dobbins is keeping you from drafting Bijan Robinson.
And
I agree.
J.K.'s in a contract year next year, and they can't pay J.K. if Lamar ends up being a Raven, which I do think maybe it's hopeful, but I think Lamar will stay a Raven. And you can't afford to pay J.K. if you pay Lamar.
So listen, let me ask you this because it's interesting because me and Will have this conversation every show about the Ravens quarterback situation. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident you think Jackson's going to be your quarterback? Just like, do you think he's going to come back? Like, what's your confidence from 1 to 10?
I'm sitting at about an 8.
All right, cool. Question: Once Jackson gets his contract, he'll clearly have a little more leverage. Do you think y'all would want to draft a wide receiver to make him a little more happy since he's going to be your franchise guy moving forward?
I think that they will attack that position in a number of ways, but I don't think it's going to stop them from picking Bijan Robinson if he's there in the 20s, because what you said on your show the other day about Robinson in the top 10, not the best value. Sure. Robinson in the 20s, that's insane value for the level of prospect that Bijan is.
I got you. What else you got for the show?
How does the idea? You can get wide receivers, but the idea of having Lamar Jackson and Bijan Robinson together for 5 years is hard to pass up.
I mean, cool. I mean, I think there's a lot of Ravens fans that are dying for like a really talented number 1 wide receiver. The problem with that is I don't think that dude is in this class. You're probably just gonna get another dude that's just like Bateman or close to Bateman. But at least that gives you 2 options that you feel good about, relative to, than just, we're just going to throw something at wide receiver and hope Lamar can fix it or whatever, right? You would at least want to try to get some talent. Go ahead.
The fan base felt the same way when they picked Dobbins, though, which is why I think they'll just pick Bijan if he's there, because people were clamoring for wide receiver when they picked JK. It was Mims or Denzel Mims and stuff was on the board, and they just went with the value, and if the value's there, I think they'll go Bijan. But speaking of wide receiver, though, I did want to talk about one guy that I know people have been bugging your ear with this guy, but I want to talk about Jalen Hyatt.
Sure. Go
ahead. You and I have the same idea in mind that he's going to run this 40 and he's going to end up getting drafted arguably a little too high.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance he hits the 4.2s, which is like, he's going to run that 40. He's going to get drafted high. But the difference, though, is I think I like Hyatt maybe a little bit more than you do. And part of that is, like, I factor age into where the prospects are at a lot. And he was he just turned 21 when the season started. So you're drafting a young player who has room to develop his skills in other areas of the game that are from the God-given speed.
Yeah. I feel cool.
Like,
you know, man, it all comes down to how whatever team drafts them. It just depends on, like, you know, what they're gonna do with him. You know, like if you just line him up and expect him to run past people, I think you're gonna run into the same problems that guys like Jalen Reagor had, or guys like Henry Ruggs had. You know, that I'm just gonna show up and be fast guy. Like, you got to have a second move. You got to have a backup plan. You got to have some route running. You know what I'm saying? Got to have some attributes.
I think he's a little more Deshaun Jackson. I think he's a little bit more of a he's got more to him. There's levels of being a deep threat. I think he has the potential to be a great deep threat. Imagine he falls to 31 and Kansas City picks him. How do you feel about that?
I think we could say that about whatever offensive weapon joining Kansas City and just feel bad about it because it's Kansas City. But if you say, oh well, what if he joins like the Patriots with Mac Jones? That don't sound as scary.
Yeah. Smith-Njigba would be a great Patriot.
Yeah,
for all the reasons you were just talking about.
For sure. Appreciate you, Drake. We about to move on. We run up on time, man. Appreciate you, my guy.
Have a great one.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We gotta figure out a way Jalen Hyatt, man. If Jalen Hyatt had more tools, then coaches can use them a bit more. But this is we live in a time where these coaches take these wide receivers, only have one tool, and they get that tool to work. It's just that running running that way really fast. You got to have a little something different, but we'll see. All right, last call for the day. We're still sick. We're still a sick gentleman, man. All right, 214, last call of the day. What's up? Who this?
Hey, what's up, Voch? This is Stargazing Sports Media, but I just go by Star.
All right, Star, what's happening? What's good? What you got for the show?
Yeah, so I had, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Star?
A couple of questions that I wanted to run by you guys to see your thoughts on stuff. So one, I wanted to know, because I watched film on Broderick Jones, and to me, he's like my pet cat of tackles in the draft. But Voch, I know you're like the O-line expert, so I wanted to know what your thoughts are on Broderick Jones as a potential tackle that we could get. And I have a couple of questions. I don't know if you want me to just ask them all and then you can just answer them once I'm off air. I don't know.
About how many questions you got? Like 1 or 3 or 5?
Yeah, I got like 3 or 4. So I guess I can just ask you them and then you can just kind of go over them. I know you probably won't be able to answer. Actually, I only have 3 because I was going to ask you about Jalen Hyatt, but the previous caller already did that.
Okay, cool. So we got Broderick, and give me the other 2. Go ahead. Give me the other 2.
Okay, so there's Broderick Jones, and then I wanted to know, because I'm also like you, that I think a huge priority is making our O-line like elite again.
Right.
Basically. And so I wanted to know from you, if you're GM, Jerry, you're GM Voch Lombardi.
Oh, we going to Super Bowl.
What would you do to make our O-line like top 5 again? Like, what are the moves that you would make in free agency? Who are the guys that you would draft in order to make our line elite again? Because to be honest, it hasn't been elite for years now. And then I wanted to also ask you about Hendon Hooker and Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
Because we got reports out today that Cowboys are interested in Hendon Hooker, which, I mean, that's normal, obviously, to be a backup. But me personally, I don't think that guys like Hendon Hooker or Anthony Richardson are going to make it out of the second round because this quarterback draft is so anemic. I think teams are going to have to reach and get these guys, even though maybe in last year's draft or the 2020 draft, they could be there in the 4th or the 5th round. So I wanted to know, do you think that these guys are going to make it past the second?
All right, so
that's pretty much it.
All right, so cool. Let's do this. And I can, boy, watch me just content the shit out of this. Watch this. Richardson not gonna make it, so we can go ahead and scratch that one out. Hooker is interesting because I think by the time the process is over, Hendon Hooker will be like a day 3 guy. He might be hovering around the 4th round. I don't think anybody's gonna take Hendon Hooker in the 2nd or 3rd. Definitely not 1st round. So Hendon Hooker, I mean, yes, he'll be a depth guy. There are some people that was saying that and they was thinking, oh well, Hendon's gonna be a DAC guy. No, I think he's a rush guy, right? Like Cooper Rush is probably gonna want to leverage his 4-1 and try to look at somebody like, hey man, y'all got some room over there, y'all got some, you know what I mean? And he might try to be like, what's my man? Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn won some games, did some big shit, and he got paid hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of his career or whatever. So I think that's Cooper Rush's new price tag is going to be too high for Jerry and them. So I think that's actually smart. So Hendon Hooker is going to be new Cooper Rush, and of course he can compete with Dak, and he's a young guy. So if he's around for a while and Dak falls off at 33 or something, now you have Hendon Hooker as a backup option. Now to your make Dallas O-line top 5 again. I think you have the pieces right now, but it just depends on what you're going to do with your left side. Because your right side, I have all the faith in the world in Terrence Steele and Zach Martin. I got faith in those dudes. Run game fell off when Terrence got hurt, and the whole left side gymnastics. That was some whole nonsense. I hate Connor McGovern. Don't like him. Kratos is fine. You may,
Me too.
100%. Kratos is fine. You might want to look for future Kratos in the future, but you probably got 3 more years with Zach Martin, and your center is fine. This is what I think is important. I think Tyler Smith at guard is going to be much more impactful than Tyler Smith at tackle. Tackle is cool, but we don't live in a world where, the left tackle is your best. They just got to be your best player, right? Because it's so many ways to navigate tackle. You can chip with tight ends. You can lead block with tight ends. You can step up and run loops with those guys. I think guard is so much more important. And I think what happens with Cowboy fans, we have this, we know what a bad Connor Williams can do. We know what a bad Connor McGovern can do, right? But we've seen bad tackles play. We've seen Cam Fleming play and not much change happen, right? I think you got to be stout at guard. And when you stout at guard, you got 2 guards that can move people. I'm talking about Zach Martin and Tyler Smith. You got 2 people that can dig big bodies out of A-gap. So that'll do wonders for your run game. And of course, you got 4. And 4 is the guy that can take the damn 30-second pass rush win rate offensive line and not get sacked to death. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, when you look for a left side player, I think that needs to be a left tackle to maximize your output. I think that needs to be a left tackle. And to your question, Broderick Jones, who's a player that has physical traits but is raw, I have evidence that the Cowboys can take raw players, they can take those physical traits, and they can parlay that and make a fantastic player out of it. And you send him to the Duke Manyweather School of top tier tackle guard growth or whatever, and let him do things to it. So Broderick Jones at left tackle, Tyler Smith at left guard, and then the rest of your right side, that makes sense to me. And I think your O-line will be top 5 again because you're powerful at guard on both sides, and your quarterback is good enough to not get you sacked all day.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, Star. Good call.
You definitely wrapped that right up.
There you go. Good call, Star. Appreciate it. I just put you down platinum. So next time you call in with no issue. Appreciate you. There we go. Good questions. Good question, by the way. Good question.
She always has good calls.
So Will, I have a lot of children that call my show. I thought Star was a young child. I didn't know Star was a lady.
She a lawyer.
Oh. Well, I won't be defaming nobody. I take all that shit back. You ain't finna sue me. I just got this goddamn job. You hear me? Listen,
yeah, she a lawyer,
Star
man.
Star is a lady. Well, Miss Star, shit. Star has a very light voice. So I was like, oh, okay, well, just one of the kids called. Because, the kids be calling my show sometimes. You know what I mean? Trick love the kid. You know what I mean? But Star is a lady. So Miss Star, we know who you, I got you.
I got questions for Star, though. I wonder if she'll call in tomorrow, man. She wants to make the offensive line top 5, but she wants to get rid of Zach Martin. And I got questions, Star. So how do I do that? I'll let her defend herself. She's a lawyer, so I will let her defend herself. I got questions. That's all.
Star, you want to call back? And look, Star, why you ain't saying nothing when I said Zach Martin was great? No. Listen, if it's gonna be top 5, Zach needs to be involved.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, that's interesting. I thought we was trying to get rid of Zach. All right, cool.
Star, call back tomorrow. That's Cowboy Day anyway, so we can really go deep on that. Nice to have you part of the community, Star.
Oh, she's awesome. She's awesome.
I've seen your name floating around Twitter. And I was like, okay, cool. I've seen this name before, but I just didn't put the face with the Twitter Avi or whatever. Star, call back tomorrow. We're gonna have a conversation about why Zach Martin should definitely be here. Now, let's get into supers. But those were good questions, by the way, though, Will, because I do think, I do think being better at guard matters more than being better at tackle. I think you can navigate being bad at tackle. Being bad at guard, man, them dudes get on top of your quarterback quick, man.
I would sign a free agent or make a trade at guard, and I think I don't know, top 5 talent. I don't give a damn about that. But I think you if you go get yourself a top tier guard and stick him next to Tyler Smith, your middle gets so much better with that top tier guard, Tyler Biadasz, who's a Pro Bowler now, and then Zach Martin, and he bring Terrence Steele back. I mean, we cooking.
So to your Shaq Mason point, I agree.
The Shaq Mason.
I only want to leave Tyler at tackle if let me go back because I'm trying to cuss less. I would definitely leave Tyler at tackle if my guard is a mother, and I have enough faith in Shaq Mason. Plus, he's not that old. He's like, what, 30 or something? About 30, 31?
Shaq Mason? 29. He'll be 30, though, when the season starts.
Perfect. Still young. I have faith that if Shaq Mason's your guard, then cool. Tyler Smith just going to be your tackle. And now you just get to be strong across your front. You know what I mean? I love that. I love the pieces. But supers. Here we go. Let's refresh that. I wasn't lying. Start call back because I just got to talk about this Zach Martin shit. Don't call back. Call back tomorrow because we late. But I want to know how you gonna get your O-line to top 5 without Zach Martin. I'm just curious.
Oh, it's more. I would love for her to bring up and to hear your response. It's more. You ain't gonna like it.
Dang, the button I made to hit. Zeke.
Yep. That's the topic.
Oh shit.
That's the topic. Damn, he was reading my mind.
And look, because I remember one of them Twitter fights.
That's the one.
Oof, I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah.
How that's gonna work. Boy. All right, hey, look, that'll be a good time for tomorrow. That'll be a good debate. On the volume side, today's the 21st. Smoke one for you. Appreciate you, sir. He says, sound like Charlie Jones to me. We was talking about the non-athletic wide receivers. Appreciate you, Smoke one. DJ dropped 2 5s. That's a dime altogether. On the first one, he says Jerry Rice, Chris Carter, and Megatron. Jerry Rice and Chris Carter, or Megatron and Randy Moss. And why is it Megatron and Randy Moss? Yeah. The talent versus nuance take or whatever.
Yeah, but those dudes also have some nuance. Like let's not. I know they're freaks, but
Megatron is Megatron because of his nuance.
Yeah, this ain't Dez Bryant freaks. These dudes they do both. Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, like Megatron, he was impressive because he was big, he run fast, and he runs routes. So that's why. Randy different. Randy might be the most talented wide receiver of all time, but we'll talk.
Not Mike.
And DJ's other point is I ain't told you so, guy, but I said the same thing about Njigba weeks ago. You bucked at me, Voch. It's all good though. Well, DJ, you look, I ain't got that button loaded up no more. But hey, it is what it is. You keep watching film. You come to conclusions. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just what you want me to say, motherfucker. I ain't say he bad. I just know how to explain why he's good now. But appreciate you though. And on the Voch side, sick of this. And L dropped one late on the volume. He says hashtag Studio 2023. I want to call it that just because he keeps saying like that. Studio 2023. Like that just it sounds fire. And show merch, friendly reminder. Gotcha, L.
That is pretty dope. If that were to happen, Studio 2023 sound like some
live in Studio 2023.
Some club from the 70s where they be snorting coke in the bathroom.
You better not have a studio big enough for a live audience, man. That'd be
ooh. But come on, now you putting ideas in my head. Come
on. And I'm telling you. Let's see. Are these old? Okay, these are old. Captain Spartan 04 dropped a deuce and says, "Did you ever get around to Anton Harrison from Oklahoma?" Yes. I forgot which year it was. I gotta go back and watch it. Anton was real good one year, and he was real lazy another one. You know, Anton Harrison, the left tackle from Oklahoma, 71, left tackle. He's another long character. He's another character with some nuance. You know, he does have some good hand fight in him. Good size. I don't think he's as strong as his size would indicate. I hate when it's like big dudes, but they don't look as strong as big as they are. But I like Anton. Anton's a good player. I would he's another guy that I would take at 26 if he's there. Anton and Broderick, those are both dudes that I like. So there we go. And I think that is all the supers. All right, Marcus Harrison, do we have something, sir, on the way out?
Yeah, please give us some gospel because y'all are ridiculous.
Zoltan dropped a 5. It says, "Is Tyron playing at a level where you could like him as a swing, or do you just want to move on?" Jerry loves that man too much to just cut him, in my opinion. Well, if Tyron ain't starting for you being Tyron, and actually Will Steele, this is a game that we're gonna play tomorrow. We're gonna get players and they cap number. We're gonna talk about, you know, if it's worth holding on to them, you know, keeper cut. So we're gonna be doing that tomorrow. So yeah, Zoltan, tap in tomorrow. We're gonna definitely talk about Tyron Smith. We're gonna talk about all that. That's all we got, chat. No Marcus Harrison today. Okay. We love Marcus Harrison. We appreciate you. We're thinking about you. Positive words for you and your family and all that. And yep, that's all we got. Hey, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Love y'all for being here. We love that y'all want a top 5 offensive line without Zach Martin. It's all good. Tap in with us tomorrow, man. We got another 2 shows for the rest of the week, Wednesday and Thursday. Me and Footsie King going live later, so be sure to tap in with us. I'm going to go on Patreon right after this. Probably run and get some food real fast, and I'll be right back on it. So y'all be sure to tap in there. Patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. We're going to be watching some offensive linemen, you know, because me and Foot's talking about offensive linemen. And Khalija Cansey from Pittsburgh. Y'all been bothering the shit out of me about Khalija Cansey, so we'll finally get a chance to watch him. We're watching him today. Excuse me, y'all. Apologize. That gummit. Also, Twitch.tv/Voch Lombardi is my non-football platform. We're currently playing Hogwarts Legacy. I am a Ravenclaw disciple. So if y'all wanna watch some of that, we'll be doing that on Twitch.tv/Voch Lombardi. I don't know if we're gonna be doing it today because Foots want to be working at midnight and shit, but we're definitely gonna be, you know, getting that work in. Follow my mans on Twitter, Skywalker Steele, Skywalker Steele, and y'all check him out at A to Z Dallas in the morning, 8:30 to 10 o'clock-ish, 10:30-ish in the morning. So tap in with him. Then after that, go watch Law Nation. After that, come back to watch us, man. Love y'all to peace. Appreciate y'all. That being said, man, we'll catch you tomorrow around 3-ish. Y'all hold it down for the Dosey Walls and Peace Whiskey, man. Till next time, it's Cowboy Day. Volume.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?